Yeah, I think this is a very difficult question because I, as a prosecutor, have seen firsthand the devastation that drugs can cause in our communities. Second, not to make a joke of it, but I never realized so many 18 to 25-year-olds had migraine headaches and back problems because, if you look at the statistics, that's who's getting these cards. That being said, once again, I am a believer in the rule of law. Arizona voters passed this. This was what the people wanted. And so I think as Attorney General, you've got an obligation to implement the law as the voters approved, whether you agree with it or not. And so I think this is problematic. I think as a state, we need to be careful in rushing anything further into these issues. I know that Colorado and Washington have recently approved statutes legalizing, marijuana entirely. And, Justice Brandeis once described the states as a laboratory of democracy. I'm a huge believer in that. And so, we as a state, as Arizona, should see what happens in states like Colorado and Washington before we rush in and make any other changes. At the end of the day, there's a case called Raich, R-A-I-C-H, whatever, that dealt with this very issue, dealt with a California person that tried to grow marijuana for personal use in California, didn't sell it or distribute it. And the U.S. Supreme Court said that the federal government could regulate and prosecute that case as, regardless of what the state law said under its authority under the Commerce Clause. And so, do I think that case was rightly decided on the Commerce Clause? Well, probably not. But at the end of the day, it's out there. And so that's the problem. That's the tension. That's the rub because, no matter who you are, quite frankly, President Obama and Eric Holder, President Obama told people if they liked their health insurance and doctor, they could keep it. And, 2 years later, we know that's not true. So when President Obama and the federal government say, well, we're not going to prosecute these cases, I don't know if I would trust them to keep their word to it. So I think it's a very precarious situation, I think, for folks. But I'm a huge believer in federalism, and I believe ultimately at the end of the day that, issues like this should be left to the states to decide and not the federal government.